I'm Nancy Cordes. O.J. Simpson arrested. Police file multiple felony charges against the former football star in connection with an alleged armed robbery in Las Vegas. Tragedy in Thailand. A plane crash at a popular beach resort kills dozens of tourists, including Americans. California wildfires. Wind-fed flames force hundreds of people out of their homes. And designing woman. How one clothing designer balances the demands of fashion and faith.
This is the CBS Evening News with Russ Mitchell.
Good evening. Russ Mitchell is off tonight. The long-running saga of O.J. Simpson has taken yet another strange turn. 12 years after his acquittal on murder charges, Las Vegas police arrested the former football star today for his role in an alleged armed robbery of sports memorabilia. Bill Whitaker has the latest.
13 years after his media-grabbing arrest following the murders of his wife Nicole and her friend Ron Goldman, O.J. Simpson is in serious trouble again. The alleged armed robbery at this Las Vegas hotel could land him in jail.
What we have now is that O.J. may be facing 2 to 16 years in jail for being an accomplice to robbery, assault with a deadly weapon, and a co-conspirator.
Today's arrest stems from a confrontation Thursday night over sports memorabilia, including these items offered on eBay. Simpson says he set up a sting operation to retrieve personal items stolen from him. The alleged victims, all memorabilia collectors, say Simpson and his accomplices burst into the room with guns.
They came in single file, quickly, orderly. O.J. was the last one to walk in. One of them, one for sure, had his weapon drawn as he came through the door.
O.J. says there were no guns. So does one collector who was part of the purported sting.
O.J. came in, did not break in, trying to get his stuff back. He did not have any gun. He didn't have any gun with him, and he and his people confiscated the stuff.
Las Vegas police have arrested one other person in connection with the alleged crime. They also have seized what they call evidence of a crime, including 2 firearms.
He will be transported and booked in the Clark County Detention Center. There will be an assessment based on the charges. The bail amount will be determined, and should Mr. Simpson be able to make the bail, he can make the bail, and then we'll have to return in 48 hours for arraignment.
Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder.
Since he was acquitted of murder 12 years ago, Simpson has had repeated run-ins with the law, charged and acquitted in a road rage incident, accused but not charged of assaulting a photographer. He's been fined for speeding.
O.J. is like the Teflon defendant. They're often charging him, but nothing seems to stick. And O.J., on the other hand, is going to say, they're always picking on me because they never do get anything to stick.
Which seems to be how he's playing it now. Simpson tells CBS News he's confident and amused by these latest charges. But armed robbery, a felony, is no laughing matter. And Las Vegas police say following their investigation, he could face even more charges. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
For more perspective on the case, we turn now to CBS News legal analyst Andrew Cohen in Denver. Andrew, good evening. And given the seriousness of these charges against him, not to mention his prior record, is there a chance that O.J. Simpson could be denied bail?
I think there's a decent chance, Nancy, that could happen. First of all, he's not a resident of Nevada. He essentially is a flight risk. We all remember the white Bronco chase. And I don't know that he has the ready cash on hand to immediately post bond or bail.
Now, he's not the only person arrested in this case. Do you think the prosecutors are going to try to turn the other suspects against Simpson?
I think it's a good bet, and I think that's already started to happen. You know, on Saturday we were hearing from prosecutors, folks in that area, that maybe O.J. Simpson was not going to be charged. And then you have this arrest of another person, and all of a sudden O.J. Simpson is arrested. You know, that suggests to me that this investigation is continuing and that people may be pointing fingers at O.J. Simpson. And obviously, if you're a prosecutor here, the big fish is O.J. Simpson because of the name recognition and so forth. So that's another headache that O.J. Simpson has to deal with, that maybe some of these other people who might have been around at the time may be having different perceptions about what happened than he did, and of course the government's going to go with their perceptions and not O.J.'s.
And Andrew, he's so well known, his legal history is so well known, that if this case goes to trial, how difficult is it going to be to seat an unbiased jury?
I think it's going to be one of the most difficult cases to get a fair jury that we've seen in our lifetime. Everyone knows who O.J. Simpson is. A trial judge is going to have an enormously difficult time trying to get folks who honestly say they don't have perceptions, preconceived notions about O.J. Simpson. The best bet maybe for a judge is to try to get younger jurors who weren't old enough to really be paying attention back in 1994 or 1995 when Simpson had his notorious run-in back in California. That's the best bet. Otherwise, I think it's virtually impossible, and it doesn't matter where it is.
Well, and we'll wait and see whether it generates as much interest as the last trial did. Andrew Cohen in Denver tonight, our legal analyst. Thank you. Overseas, a plane crash in Thailand early today killed 88 people, including at least 2 Americans, and injured dozens more. The accident occurred on Phuket, an island resort that attracts tourists from all over the world. Barry Peterson has the latest.
Authorities say the main cause may have been heavy rains, strong winds, and bad visibility. A passenger on a previous flight said his landing was, quote, terrifying. Flight 269 from a budget airline called One to Go was on a flight from Bangkok. By one report from Thailand's Air Transport Authority, the pilot tried to abort the landing and go around. But as the official described it, the plane lost balance and crashed, breaking into 2 parts. It skidded off the runway into an embankment, and then there was an explosion. Most of the dead may have survived the crash, only to die seconds later in the resulting fire. One survivor said, "It landed too fast, it descended too fast." Said another, "You could tell when it was landing it was in trouble, it was making a noise," and what that survivor called this bang.
As the plane was landing, you could tell it was in trouble because it kind of landed, came up again. The second time, next thing I know, just everything's on fire, and I loosened my strap. Looked for couldn't find my friend, but got out through the exit onto the wing and got out. My friend was on the outside.
Phuket is probably Thailand's most popular tourist destination, and many parts of the area were hard hit in the 2004 Asian tsunami that took thousands of lives. This will be another blow to Phuket's reputation, just as it enters the time of year when its beaches and resorts count on foreigners, especially Europeans, to come for vacation and to spend their money. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Beijing.
Here at home, crews are battling a pair of Southern California wildfires this evening. The biggest fire is in San Bernardino County, where it forced hundreds of residents to leave their homes in Fawnskin and Green Valley Lake. Sandra Hughes is tracking the fires tonight.
Firefighters battled a 16,000-acre wildfire in the Southern California mountains near the tourist community of Big Bear Lake.
Search and rescue, anybody home?
300 people are still evacuated. Rob Shepard started packing his belongings when he saw the glow in the sky.
The first thing was to find the cat, and we found him. And he's in there. He's been in there for about an hour. He's protesting pretty vehemently.
About 1,800 firefighters were fighting from the air and on the ground as the fire tore through the San Bernardino National Forest, fueled by high winds and dry brush.
Just us, my wife and I, we're all packed up. We're just waiting.
But cooler temperatures today were expected to help firefighters. The blaze is turned away from most neighborhoods and is heading toward the desert, allowing some 1,200 evacuees to return home. But the fire was bad enough that California's governor declared a state of emergency for San Bernardino County. About 40 miles northeast of downtown San Diego, a second wildfire is burning near the historic mining community of Julian, California, forcing more residents from their homes.
We've been heavily involved in structure protection on multiple structures.
One vacation home and 5 outbuildings were destroyed, but firefighters say they expect to have that fire under control by Tuesday. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
A bloody day in Iraq. At least 41 people were killed or found dead. Police say U.S. State Department security contractors killed 9 Iraqis in Baghdad. The U.S. Embassy gave no details of the incident. In the north, a booby-trapped bicycle exploded outside a cafe, killing 5. When Congress returns to work next week, Democrats are determined to introduce a plan to give U.S. troops more rest between deployments in Iraq. That's already prompting criticism from the White House. Joey Chen has more.
The president returns to face another week at war with Democratic lawmakers over what to do about Iraq. though he took a small step toward them in his assessment of the surge.
We have now reached the point where we can maintain our security gains with fewer American forces.
It wasn't enough to close the partisan gap. Democrats today said Mr. Bush's ambition for a drawdown of some surge forces is nothing more than an illusion.
The president has dangled a carrot in front of the American people talking about troop reductions. But again, it is an illusion of a change, of course, and the American people are not buying it.
Even the Pentagon chief admitted today he can't say how long U.S. forces will be needed.
Do you envision an American presence in Iraq that's going to last 50 years?
Well, I think that history remains to be written. In part, it will depend on what kind of condition we leave Iraq in.
That invites comparison with Korea, where American troops remain on duty decades after combat between North and South ended. The Democrat strategy that has the most chance of succeeding, with growing support on both sides, may be an amendment which would require a soldier's home leave to last as long as his or her deployment, a move that could indirectly force the Pentagon to trim troop levels. If the measure passes, Mr. Bush is expected to veto it, and supporters don't have the votes to override that. With lawmakers at a stalemate, it's still up to the president to decide how and when to end the war. Joey Chen, CBS News, the White House.
Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a day of political sizzle in Iowa. The Democratic presidential hopefuls descended on Indianola, Iowa today, a mandatory stop on the road to the caucuses early next year. Our chief political correspondent, Jeff Greenfield, is there.
Somewhere in this scrum, almost surely, is the next Democratic presidential nominee, eager for the chance to shake a hand.
This is my idea of a surge.
Especially if that hand is attached to an Iowa Democrat.
What we're doing today is building a new field of dreams for the country we love.
An estimated 10,000 of them are here today at this latest presidential cattle call. And today, cattle is what's on the menu. This is Iowa Senator Tom Harkin's 30th annual steak fry. They actually grill it, this being well north of the Mason-Dixon line.
Only in Iowa on a beautiful September Sunday afternoon would 12,000 people gather who love America.
And the presence of every serious Democratic contender demonstrates just how much Iowa's first in the nation caucuses next January is dominating the current contest.
Tom Harkin is the epitome of what a senator should be. He cooks a mean steak.
This summer, I attended the Iowa State Fair. I had no idea that there was something called a deep-fried pickle.
Senator Joe Biden has made 21 visits to Iowa. Senator Clinton, 17. Senator Dodd, 18. Governor Bill Richardson, 16. Barack Obama, 25 visits. Former Senator Edwards, 33 visits. With the caucuses more than 3 months away, some of these candidates may be spending so much time here, they'll be eligible to vote for themselves. So have you ever seen this much activity this early, even in Iowa?
Not to the level it's at. There's been more activity, more campaigning in the state by these candidates than ever before.
For several candidates, Iowa could indeed be the end of the road. Senator Biden, far behind in the polls, says if he doesn't finish in the top 3, he's out. Governor Richardson has pinned his long-shot hopes on a strong showing here. John Edwards wants a win here to shatter Senator Clinton's inevitability image, as does Senator Obama. Latest polls give Clinton a small lead, but caucus polls this far out are subject to radical change without notice. Whatever the outcome of this contest, there's one sure winner, the Iowa economy. Between radio and TV advertising, travel, lodging, logistics, this process will put hundreds of millions of dollars into the state's economy. As one of these candidates put it, not for attribution, this isn't a political process, it's an industry. Jeff Greenfield, CBS News, Indianola, Iowa.
Just ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, and then it was 3. A big bank bumps up its ATM fees. The Federal Reserve appears poised to lower interest rates for the first time in more than 4 years on Tuesday. A cut would bring relief to millions of borrowers who have been squeezed by the credit crunch. Getting your hands on your own money just got a little pricier. Bank of America, which has more automatic teller machines than any other bank in the nation, is raising fees again at 11,000 of its 17,000 ATMs. Other banks are poised to follow suit, and financial experts say the cost to get cash is likely to keep climbing.
These days, getting money out can feel more like you're putting money in.
You pay $2
for something to use someone else's bank, and then your own bank charged you another $2.
And the cost of convenience just went up again, with Bank of America bumping the fee for using a different bank's card at its ATMs from $2 to $3 at most branches. Now, Wachovia is testing out a $3 fee. And the rest?
Banks often move like a school of fish when it comes to fees like ATM surcharges. We've seen that play out time and time again.
A decade ago, it was free. Now, 98% of banks charge non-customers for using their cash machines. The average fee, $1.64. Americans rack up $4.2 billion a year in ATM fees.
I think you shouldn't have to pay for your own money.
Bank of America says it's just looking out for its customers.
The fees that we get from non-customers help go towards the investment of those state-of-the-art ATMs.
In fact, analysts say ATM rate hikes can actually attract new customers, a kind of reverse psychology.
What happens is you're rewarding the customer for being that particular bank. So if I favor a Bank of America ATM machine and I'm not a Bank of America customer, I might just think about becoming one because of higher fees.
He predicts the $5 ATM fee is just a couple years away. Kind of makes walking a couple extra blocks to your own bank's ATM seem a little less onerous. All the top names in fashion were in New York last week to show off their spring designs. Ralph Lauren, Oscar de la Renta, Donna Karan. Also there was a devout Muslim who will wear some of her bold creations only in the privacy of her own home. She talked with Bianca Solorzano.
New York City Fashion Week, where the hottest runway threads can leave little to the imagination. But these revealing outfits are the creation of an unlikely designer. Turkish designer Rabia Yalçın is a devout Muslim. In public, she wears a headscarf and conservative dress. But the plunging necklines, peekaboo bras, and see-through material reveal her flair for the sensual.
You don't find this hypocritical at all? You're comfortable sending out women on the runway dressed like this?
This is me is me, and she is herself.
Would you ever wear this?
Of course I would wear it, but in private at my home.
Yalçın believes a girl can have it all, mixing haute couture with Islamic sensibility.
How large a part of your life is your religion?
It's my everything. It's my life.
And for much of her life, since she was 5 years old, she's been designing clothes.
My feet didn't even reach the pedals of the sewing machine. So I would have a girlfriend who would step on the pedals of the sewing machine and I would use my hands to sew.
Now she's trying to stitch together threads from Eastern and Western cultures.
As far as I'm concerned, I create designs and outfits for women from all backgrounds and religions.
Yalçın's clients include Middle East royalty. The styles of her $3,000 gowns are inspired by Turkey's Ottoman Empire. But she also designs with the average woman in mind and believes all women are sexy and should be able to choose how they want to dress in public.
If we accept each other with such tolerance, there'll never be war.
It's unclear if her creations will sell in America, but at the very least, she hopes to make acceptance in Turkey and abroad more fashionable. Bianca Solorzano, CBS News, New York.
Next up on tonight's CBS Evening News, a farewell to an opera diva. Finally, the stars of the opera world gathered at New York's Lincoln Center today to pay tribute to Beverly Sills, the great soprano who died in July at the age of 78. Among those performing, tenor Placido Domingo. A tribute to a beloved performer. And that's the CBS Evening News. I'm Nancy Cordes, CBS News in New York. Good night.
CBS News, experience you can trust.